What's up guys and welcome to another YuGiOh Duel video. So I want to apologize for not being active last week. I took a quick break so that I can have some me time as well as maybe sit out and see what else I can think of throughout this entire time as well. Also, the KC Cup is still going on, so I have not been actively competing due to certain connection errors, which is pretty much my own problem. So I do regret to say that I have not been as active as I thought I would. Also, there are also currently mini events going on, such as the Carly's Fortune Telling one, along with the Tour Guide Bingo missions. And this time for Tour Guide Bingo missions, you have the chance to obtain the spell card called Emergency Assistance. You can special summon a level 4 monster from a graveyard that was destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard this turn. Meaning, if you were to activate a certain particular effect that requires you to destroy a monster on your field to bring out another monster, or even, for example, Zorc's effect where it auto self-destructs and destroys everything you control, you can activate this card to bring out a level 4 that was destroyed during that turn. Let's say, for example, a level 4 Fiend monster with 1800 points of attack, bring it out onto the field, and if you have yet to use a normal summon, you can normal summon anything, another level 4, a tuner, or even go into something like a fusion base or even bring out Dark Necrofear during that turn. So this card is pretty much situational and it's quite useful to have just in case you will go into a pinch where you actually auto self-destruct and you can bring out monsters to stay on the field as you can. So special summoning it into defense position or even in attack position, quite up to you really. And it does not specify what attribute or even what type of monster it must be, so that's a plus one for you as well. Next up is Carly's Fortune Telling event. It's pretty much a straightforward kind of event, kind of like a Tour Guide Bingo mission. Complete a particular task, and you can stand to obtain certain rewards ranging from skill chips, gems, jewels, and also like gold coins, for example. So that's actually quite randomized, so there's not a definitive way to actually determine what kind of rewards you're gonna get. So today I'd like to focus on the deck I've been actually trying to do improv on, and it is called a Zorc Necrofear deck. So I have yet to obtain the skill that's actually for Yami Bakura, the one that actually helps you with your Curse Necrofear kind of playstyle. But this is the one I'm using called Zorc Necrofear, and as the name suggests, I'm using both Zorc and Dark Necrofear into the deck. So the skill I'm using is called Zorc Appears. Once per duel, you can roll a 6-sided die, and depending on the die if it is less than the current turn, meaning you can play this in mid-game or late game to bring out the Dark Master Zorc onto the field. No ritual summoning required or any tributes, just like that, just a roll a 6-sided die and it's a definite summon of this particular monster onto the field as well. And if you do not want to use Zorc Appears, you can also use Compensation, as well as Draw Sense Dart or even Destiny Board, depending on what kind of playstyle you're going for your deck. But since my deck itself is pretty much Fiend based and also Zorc as the main boss monster, this is why I'm playing 2 copies of Zorc, 1 Cursed Necrofear, 1 Dark Necrofear, 1 Evil Hero Malicious Edge, 1 Adusted Gold, Manju 10,000 Hands, and 3 copies of Jin Presider of Rituals, because if I want to bring out another Zorc, I can actually banish this monster from the graveyard in order to function as the secondary cost for the ritual summoning of Zorc. Also, because I'm running Adusted Gold, I'm running Supreme King's Castle, 2 MSTs, 2 Zorc's Ritual Spell Cards, 2 Super Team Body Force Unite, and 2 Counter Gates. Initially, I was running 2 Wall Disruption, but as I went by on the game, I found out that I was actually severely lacking, and also literally sometimes I have a high chance of breaking, which is why I swap it with Counter Gate. That way I can negate an attack and at least draw an extra card to see what card I managed to get my hands into. For the extra deck, it's pretty much Evil Hero kind of support, especially for Supreme King's Castle's effect. So Supreme King's Castle is gonna be both an offensive and defensive card for your Fiend type monsters if you were to run into your opponent's monsters with much higher attack points during that turn. And do keep in mind that even though Supreme King's Castle is on the field and any fusion style or any fusioning method you want to bring out any of the fusion monsters can be done with either polymerization and not necessarily dark fusion. These monsters can only be brought out via fusion summoning, so Super Team Body Force cannot target these monsters, so you gotta keep an eye out for that. Not to mention, by sending these Fiend monsters from the extra deck, You can bring out Dark Necrofear because of the cost itself, being three Fiend type monsters regardless of their attributes. And also since Manju of 10,000 hands seems to be the only fairy type in the deck, so far Super Team Body Force is pretty useful overall. And of course I'm playing two Xyz monsters called Evil Swarm Thanatos, so this card is unaffected by monster's effects. Any monster effects on your opponent's side of the field during either player's turn, you can detach it. That way it will not be disrupted. And since it's also a Fiend type monster, Super King's Castle also adds to that bonus as well. So that's one of the few things you gotta watch out for. Not to mention, I'm playing this in a playstyle where it's actually Zorc gonna be the main monster. But if I were to not draw into any of the Zorc cards and I manage to draw into these other Fiend type monsters, that is pretty much okay as well. So without further ado, let's get into a duel and I will let you see how I play this deck as a whole.
Challenging me to a duel is your first and last mistake.
Time to throw down.
So as you can see in our opening hand, we started off with a Dusted Gold, Jin of Presided Rituals, and Manju of 10,000 hands. And now we just gotta wait and see what else we draw in the next turn, since they are setting up their back row pretty nicely, and hoping we get to draw into something that actually helps us during the next draw phase. So let's draw into Supreme King's Castle. That way a Dusted Gold can also be used to search for another copy of Supreme King's Castle if I want to, but I'll leave that up for later on during the late game. So as you can see, they activated Fiendish Chain, negating Manju 10,000 hands effect, rendering it useless for this turn and being a monster with a brick.
My turn. I draw. I know you'll help me out. My monster's effect activates. Let's battle. Take this. I attack with my mind. My turn's done.
Here I go. Draw. Go. I summon a Let's try just the field spell activates.
This isn't looking good. All I need is a from my hand. The field spell. I reveal my fate. I know you'll help me out. I special summon a monster. The field spell activates. My monster's effect activates. From my hand, here comes one of my favorites. The field spell activates. That's the part of me. Let's battle. Oh, you're going down. I attack with my. Oh, you're going down. My monster attacks you directly.
You haven't won yet.
All I can do is end my turn.
My turn. I draw. My monster effect activates. And I activate a quick play spell. From my hand, the field spell activates. I summon the one that will cause your demise. Dark Necrofear. Go, Dark Necrofear! Doom Gaze! The field spell activates!
I lost. But I won't next time. Thanks for the sweet duel.
Did you actually believe that you could defeat me?
So that's basically the showcase of my deck, as you can see, using Supreme King's Castle to actually mill Fiend type monsters from the extra deck to the graveyard instead from the main deck to the graveyard. That way you increase the monsters required for Dark Necrofear's effect to actually banish these other monsters while also protecting your monsters on the field with a boosted amount of attack once per turn as well. So this is interesting and is a pretty decent playstyle overall, but I hope this is a pretty interesting deck for you to try out and to also consider, since this is also a Fiend type deck and also Supreme King's Castle, and evil heroes are mainly focused on Fiend type monsters, so that is one way I do recommend playing out this entire deck as a whole. You can add in several other hero supports, but do keep in mind that you gotta be careful, especially since Elemental Hero Stratos is considered a warrior type monster, or you can even play Evil Hero Infernal Prodigy if you want to, but I do suggest not doing so because if you have this card in your opponent's hand, without cards like Evil Hero Malicious Edge or even anything else, actually use it as a form of tribute summoning or even for Xyz, then it's pretty much dangerous to play overall. So this is why I do recommend playing all of these different other evil heroes of higher levels in your extra deck for the Supreme King's Castle effect, for the attack bonus, and also for an offensive and defensive kind of playstyle. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this particular video and also how I'm playing this kind of Zorc Evil Hero Supreme King Castle kind of deck combo. So until then, I'll see you next time. Stay safe but keep dueling. Goodbye and good night.